Yes. You can go right ahead.
Thank you. Well, last time on the Caladan Chronicles, Season 2, we set out doing not too much. We hung out in the cozy cave in the Red Mountains where there were water and supplies and secret passageways. There was some vipers coming up, wanting to have a rest, and we basically murdered every last one of them, except one, who we broke, I think, every bone in his legs, and so he couldn't really move much. And ice were gathered, and mysterious messages were put to other Dornishmen we had prisoners, and then we kind of decided to leave this place and go back and report what we found. Carrying one prisoner and letting the other one go, carrying a mysterious message that only Bree knows what it was. And yeah, we basically got back to Helmbreaker Hall and said, listen, this is what's going down. We found this tunnel from the Tower of Joy to this place. There's a lot of supplies. You could probably go in there and just take all of it and probably fortify that place, or at least keep it under, like have it as a base of operations. That's probably a really good idea. Here's a map. And he said, well, that was amazingly well done. Great. Also, war's coming, and Alaric is requested back at Respite, and so we hurried back to Respite. There was a lot of talk back and forth, and several options were presented. We could go to Summer Hall to join up with the Anvil and basically take part in the military campaign together with the Anvil. Or we could, let's see here, there was a few other things also we could do, except the one we chose. I actually kind of blanking on them right now. The other big option was Ashra approaching Sir Alaric and being like, listen, I haven't asked you for a favor in a long time, but now I am, and boy, is it a big one. Because the Longthorn is very much captured by the Lannisters, and I intend to go and save him together with my band of merry people here. Do you want to come along? And so we had a bit of a talk, the players trying to decide what we wanted to do. On the other side, we could engulf ourselves in the war, with all that means of like guerrilla operations, terror missions, or whatever we need to do to keep the war going in our favor. Or we could go with Sir Ashra on a amazing adventure out west to try heroically to save the Longthorn. Oh, I remember what the third thing was. We also had the option of maybe joining up with the Blood Raven and his mysterious band of wizards or whatever he has out in the forest. But since none of us were like, can't really find the Blood Raven, and Bree is not here, so she can't really champion that either. So we basically picked Ashra.
Being here to convey my opinion for the first time, I 100% am all for saving the Liege Lord. I think it's so fucking like heroic and dastardly, and it ties in with Alaric's character, and holy fucking shit, we're gonna fight the Lannisters and fucking free the Longthorn.
Yeah, it's such a grand prospect and such an amazing adventure that I think all of us basically said,
and look at all these heroes that are fucking gathered.
Look at this gathering of people here. You have never seen such a gathering of heroes. Well, it is.
They have. It was back at the tournament.
Well, you know, Vero wasn't here, so at least definitely.
Yes, bastards always count as heroes. My apologies.
Heroes never die, I'm told. So yeah, we're off with Ashra on a grand adventure heading west, possibly.
Northwest-ish.
Ren and Kevin both being sort of fish out of water because they haven't met any of these people, but you know, saving the Liege Lord seemed to be a good idea, because if we die, then that's it, you know, and we at least tried. But if we succeed, then like the favor this would garner for House Caladan to have like saved the Longthorn, I mean, is immeasurable. It would also put the final thumb in the face of our dear Peak.
The Gormy Peak is just gonna fucking stick his head in a buzzsaw. I can't fucking believe this.
I can't believe they taped it and then they fucking rescue him. How do they? Arg! And then it's gonna just explode, hopefully.
These people complete story goals and get points all the time. I can't keep up. It's horrible.
I'm too old for this. I can't.
I
This
don't
is
have
where
the
we
most
discover
points.
that House Peak has actually been in cahoots with House Lannister to get Longthorn out of the way so that House Peak could take control of the Reach.
Wouldn't be fucking surprised. Wouldn't be fucking surprised if they did it. Bloody snakes, all of them.
There is a reason House Peak is this big, and there's something Ashra to transition into actual play. We'll sort of speak to you about a little bit about the politics of the Westerlands right now. He's not really up to date. He's not really a man who sort of keeps a close eye as to what's going on in the other realms, or in this one really, like a whole lot, unless it concerns his friends. But every realm pretty much has a couple of families, generally sort of one primary one, who is a direct rival to the ruling house. The Reach has two, primarily. There is perhaps two more, but they're not really opposed to Tyrells. And this is simply something that maybe the Tyrells could do something about it, but the king, the realm, kind of wants there to be contestants to the Tyrell power, so that if they were to rebel, there would be someone whom the crown could align with that could basically negate a lot of the power of a realm. In the Reach, it is partially Lord Peak and House Peak are set up. They are supported somewhat by the crown, given a long leash, because if House Tyrell was to do something the crown didn't like, the crown could throw their backing behind House Peak, and House Peak would probably be very into that and very powerful and in a good position to, so to speak, help the crown take down the Tyrells before things got out of hand. In the Westerlands, there's another such house. That's the Rains, a very powerful house as well, the White Lion to the Golden Lion of Lannister. However, recently, over a generation or so, the two lions have just sort of stopped struggling with one another and more sort of began just working together, really. Seemingly, they don't really have that much to fight over anymore. At least they haven't really done it. And they've begun intermarrying a whole damn lot. So he speculates that perhaps the two families were to fuse at some point, become one, which would be terrible, because there would be no other family in the Westerlands to really challenge their power. And that's the most dangerous thing. That's what allows them now to rebel so deviantly, because they don't really have an enemy nearby, close to home, who can threaten them. Well, that's a bit of an issue. On that note, though, you were basically taking a few days here to prepare, I know. Some of you buying some things and whatnot. It's not going to take no time. And in between those days before you leave, Vern Flowers, where does he just generally sort of hang out these days?
I don't imagine he gets to sleep inside the actual castle, does he?
I would imagine he does. He's family, after all.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the way he spends his time. I am. I don't know how to fix it at that moment, but I'll, yeah.
Considering everything, he might have the generosity of the Lord. He might have Lannis's old room.
Uh-huh. He also
very generous. Oh.
He also has. Well, it is next to Alaric's, so it's not really the most attractive room in the castle.
Mm-hmm. But he will probably spend some time with his son now that he actually can do that before they all go away, and
sure.
Also try to take it easy a bit, recovering from his wounds and injuries.
What sort of things does he do with his son when they sort of have their alone time?
Usually talk. Like he's thinking about starting to train him to fight, because he is getting to that age now where he should start training.
Does Yaren like to fight? Is he a very energetic boy, or is he more timid or reading, or what sort of things does he like?
He has a lot of energy, and he is not really fond of fighting, but rather like running around and playing with the other kids. Mm-hmm. But he does have the energy for it, as I said. So he's not really opposed to it either.
Yeah, so he needs something to channel that into.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a wild child.
Yes, a bit.
All right, well, I suppose you'd be out here somewhere, probably over by the tree. That seems to be where people go when they are outside in the courtyard. We'll just move these guys over here. all of you.
Mhm.
Yep, and you have your kid. Then no one's going to sneak up on you, but someone you haven't really spoken to is going to walk towards you.
Okay.
And he actually hasn't really been home a lot. Home, if you can call it that. He hasn't been here a lot. And you have probably like heard who he is somewhat, but maybe not entirely. As he walks up slowly, with a courteous sort of smile, a nose slightly raised. He's better than you, to his mind at least. That's clear.
Right.
As he looks at your kid, just sort of appraising clearly. That is, in your sort of mind, maybe at least what these sorts of types do from the free cities when they see young children. They, it's not the first time someone has looked at your son and thought, is he going to be as big as his father? And how much would that add to his actual value, if he was to be sold?
Vern then would narrow his eyes at the man approaching.
As he walks closer.
Giving me a look like, don't even think about it.
Yeah. I believe you are Vern Flowers, yes?
Indeed so. And what is your name, good sir?
I am Sir Ivas the Silent, they call me.
A pleasure.
I was told that you were from home. Or at least you have been there for some time, yes?
That depends on where home is, I suppose. I have traveled around a lot.
So perhaps you speak the true tongue rather than this guttural language.
Van would then flip to Valerian, which he is actually more comfortable with speaking.
How much sort of Westerosi does his son speak? It's been taught perhaps, but his mother tongue would be the Valerian, wouldn't it?
Yes, he has probably a greater accent than Varen has, and he probably doesn't know that much in Westerosi tongue.
Yeah, he's been learning a lot recently.
Yeah, Varen has basically taught him on the way over here, and while they were staying there as well, trying to basically keep up the traditional. So, to what do I owe this pleasure then?
Someone says, fantastic. I have waited to speak to someone who actually could speak the true language. It has been too long. He sighs and says, the people over here are savage, as you know. He says, regardless, I have spoken to Desm, and he said that you had proven yourself recently.
I should hope so. Even though
he also said that you are not a knight and do not follow such ancient terms as valor and honor.
I do not follow them strictly, at least, though I do admire some of them. Most of the knights I field rarely keep to their oaths, however.
Well, I was also warned that you were clumsy.
Gives him an annoyed look, and I suppose.
It says it is important information. If you cannot hold something without having a chance of dropping it, then perhaps I shouldn't be speaking to you at all.
I have no trouble holding things. It's more keeping my balance on loose footing that is the problem.
It says as long as you can keep something from breaking. He sort of goes to his like a little satchel with him that he opens, takes out a bulbous vial. It is painted black and probably what's like pitch or something, making it impossible to really look inside.
Yep.
As he takes it very gingerly in a leather strap and sort of goes close and hands it to you and says, perhaps this would be useful to you. I was told by Lord Desm that your mission will take you to dangerous places where people will have lots of armor.
Vern holds it in front of him, examines it, and
It's sort of heavy.
How will this help me?
He says, you will see. As he sort of smiles and says, when you encounter someone whom You or your companions may have trouble getting through. Simply break this upon him. Do throw it, and don't be close when you do. It can splash a little bit. It will, he sort of smiles, says, show you the effectiveness of the free cities, I think.
Whereas our eyes will then go a bit wide, and so this is what I think it is then.
Excellent, says, I doubt you would know what it is. I
have
would
heard
not give you the
stories.
most dangerous thing I have. He sort of smiles slightly and says, and it is not only fire that can burn, shall we say.
I see. I had heard rumors about goings on around there, but I see.
Now, since it might also be good if you were to say that you got this directly from Decim. I'm not sure the other knights would approve of these sorts of things.
That I would not think either. I will only use it in a last case scenario then. Thank you a lot. Thank you very much, sir.
He sort of frowns and says, I expect a report on the use of it.
I will make sure to give you one if I ever need to use it. Hopefully there won't be much bloodshed, but you never know. He gives him a slight smile.
You should also be able to hide it rather easily. I might wish to speak to you when you return. As we could do much together, you and I. One who can speak my tongue can understand my ideas and thoughts much better than these barbarians.
I see. I will certainly keep that in mind and talk to you when I return.
That's good. Good. As he sort of raises his nose again, sniffs a little bit, frowns at you, and looks at you and says, if you think one of your companions would be better suited with this, I'm sure there is a way for you to convince them that it is necessary. Regardless, Lord Decim was most insistent that you were the one to receive it and test it. He did not believe Sir Alaric would do such a thing. Discretion is advised.
Yes.
Turn.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't wait for you to talk. Doesn't care.
Right then.
Your son looks at you. Looks at the vial.
Then put it away. Now you're not to speak of this to anyone.
Just sort of nods.
You know what happens when you
knows.
don't obey.
Yes, he grew up in a war zone. It's, yeah. He does look worried, though. Like maybe you're gonna get sent away for something, or he's gonna lose this great place that's safe and where no one killing anyone. You know. Yeah.
Well, we'll give him a reassuring smile.
Mm-hmm. Beyond that, Gold will finish the armor affair as well. I believe you have had Alaric gift you one, as far as I understand.
Yes. Very generous.
A few other things will also be handled. So Ashra and his company, though, are mostly sort of riding out to do errands and whatnot, perhaps gather news, gather things they might need, maps, that sort of thing. But they are available if anyone wants to speak to them before you actually leave. Yeah. Otherwise, if no one has anything they want to do before leaving.
Where are we leaving to? Because we didn't really know, I think.
Yes. Well, Sir Ashra wishes to get into the heart of the Westlands, basically. Don't really know where exactly, or even remotely, Lord Tyrell would be. Finding him will be the first objective, And to do that, well, what better place than Lannisport? It is a big port town, the third largest in Westeros. And, well,
that is certainly
many
a
roads
journey.
lead there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would we take the coast road by Old Oak Craig Hall?
He reckons yes.
Okay.
The thought being that he could think that the two other major roads, the River Road and the Gold Road, could both be filled with Lannister hosts and armies right now, moving to the Riverlands or the Crown Lands. And he would rather not encounter such.
Will we be traveling incognito, as in we do not wear our colors, or are we like riding out full on,
Full bannery.
banners and tabards and everything?
Zashra thinks, to paraphrase, that until leaving the Reach, keeping banners and such will be more than useful. He intends to go to Highgarden first and see if there's any news there from the Westerlands. It's been some time now since he left Highgarden to go here. He was waiting for Elric to come back from the marshes, and perhaps some news there would be useful to actually figuring out how to approach this task. So that will be the first stop to his mind. Not to stay there long, which is sad, of course, but it is the best way to cross the Menda there, without having to go to Golden Grove, and you can just follow the ocean road north then from Highgarden. From there, sneaking past Craig Hall, potentially through the forest, or even going further out and going through sort of the edge of the mountains and hills, to perhaps approach Lannisport either from the south or from the west, or east, that is, towards the west. When approaching Lannisport, some sort of disguise is definitely necessary.
How are they going to disguise Alaric? That's just not going to happen.
Well,
At least
it's a calculation. If it's so hard to disguise him that maybe people just won't ask what the hell he thinks he's doing or some such.
Just take off your tabard and put like a bear skin or something over you, and you'll be like a mysterious like northern warrior or whatever. It's like, yeah, he's some sort of I don't know, weird barbarian riding around.
Love it.
So
Wildling.
yeah. So how does the conversation of bringing Bree go? Do any of you sort of insist that she joins?
I don't think
Insist that she
at this-
joins?
Yeah.
I don't think Kevin is in any position to insist anything. He would certainly not oppose her joining. He has seen her in action. He knows how effective she is. And although he is slightly freaked out about her, he thinks that on a mission like this, we need all the help we can get.
She kills the snakes.
Yes, which
I've seen her kill more than snakes.
Oh God,
Wild.
who is that?
Wild dog it is.
I'm not going to be around very long, but
Yeah,
Right.
brother.
Think on that, brother.
Because she wasn't really at the meeting, was she?
no, she
I think
wasn't.
she might have been actually.
No, because
well, Grimmeth wasn't there, so
No.
I can't say.
Bree
if I
probably
remember-
wasn't then. That is easier.
Yeah, if I remember, you said Bree went off, and this wasn't worth her time. She
To
wanted
her
to go
room or
maybe.
something.
Probably went to bed.
Slept.
you know,
Mr. Cole was in there. She looked in. She was like, "Nah, let that rest for now. Gotta get some sleep."
Since you're here, Dark, would Ren accept a bottle of mystery liquid?
I've been in the chat long enough to know where you got that mystery liquid from, but
Yes.
I mean, if you offered it to him, he'd ask what it is, but yeah, he'd accept.
Basically,
give it to
got
the
from,
healer, man.
Well, yes.
Oh, the
He's
healer's
the most
gonna
agile
get.
of us.
Also, the healer with one knowledge, so I have no way to identify it.
That's the real reason.
I think he's the best one to give it to.
Oh, I see how it is.
Well, who else would I give it to?
I mean, I'm probably not going to trip over at least.
Trusty Breeze, trusty Emporium of trusty secrets. You can trust
Yes.
Bree.
I don't know.
Bree
We
might,
should give
drag him
Bree,
out.
should we give Bree the grenade? I don't know.
Nothing can go wrong with giving Bree the grenade.
Desmond's like, I never asked for this.
You did what?
I was just following her orders.
Gave it to you. I thought it was, I'm clumsy.
Oh shit.
Damn it.
So back to Manakai's question, kid.
Who, when you gathered up and said, so who'll go? It's like, we need Bree. She needs to go with us.
Well, what about Mansa Legard? Because he likes her, right?
Yeah, but he's not so rude as to suggest you take your little girl with her. I mean, he would certainly probably support it.
Okay, again, Kevin is in no position to suggest this because it would again be incredibly rude. But maybe the argument could be made that we are going to infiltrate something. That looking around, we have a whole bunch of very burly men in full plate. They can't infiltrate jack shit. We might need someone who's actually nimble for this, and who can take care of themselves, and who actually has a bit of a flair for treachery. So, Bree it is.
Yeah.
So Kevin is saying that someone has a flair for treachery and accusing the lady of the.
She has a way with words, is how he would put it, if pressed.
So Ashra looks a little skeptical. Eden Rice looks a little outraged, like he dares say.
Kevin blushes.
Dorian is just kind
Furiously.
of like he frowns slightly, looks at the others, and sort of he looks like he's been disillusioned from all this. I've seen enough.
This family man, let me tell you.
Alaric kind of gives the look of, oh, he's like, yeah.
Kevin is like backing off from all of these people.
Ren is shaking his head like, you had to open your mouth, didn't you?
We like,
Also looks over and says, "Where is she?" And she looks to us, Alaric. I think it's about time she joined us. You knocked me out. If you've done that, you know.
Embarrassing.
Alaric nods and looks to a guard and says, "Cool, get the servant to fetch Bree." And presto.
Servant says, "If need be, I shall do my best to protect her."
I think it might be her protecting you.
Just regardless, the laws of chivalry require that I try.
Alaric just kind of looks at Ashra, like, did he really?
If you're not, Alaric would kind of know the guy. Eden Riceley is known to be a man who he's very chivalrous. He does not fight he fights with a halberd, basically. Does kind of the same sort of tricks that Varen does with his poleaxe, knocking people down and cutting groups.
Good man.
It is what he's good at, but he has always been a little bit embarrassed that he's not really good with a longsword, because that's the real knightly way to do things. So he sometimes overcompensates a little bit with the knightly valor.
Alright.
He's a great guy, though. He's a
I
great
can get
guy.
behind that.
And there's no man more brave than Eden Riceley. That's pretty much a fact.